Step number 7, it's time. All right. So on this, there's a big alert at the top here. Not the biggest writing, but yet there is some defined alert up there. And it says, if you are planning on fitting your sleeve underarm, this is the point where you would pin this seam that we're getting ready to talk about to stitch. Pin or lightly hand baste it together, trying it on, and do your adjustments before you stitch this seam in, knowing what you're going to do. You also probably don't have your pockets on. So once you do this adjustment and treat your seam, then you're going to know, I can go back to my fronts and put my pockets on now. Or know what you're going to do with them. If you're shortening it, if you are changing the shape anyway. All right, then the next part is, what we're really doing here is we're pinning the back, and I've got my back right here, and front together at the side seams. Pin the sleeve edges together, and then stitch in one continuous double stitch seam. And again, I'm not having you double stitch unless that is the seam finish you choose to do, right? And again, this is with a wobble or a straight stitch, a stretch stitch, not a straight stitch as they show here. So you can stitch it with your wobble, come back, stitch it again with the wobble, and trim away. Or you can use an overcast. You can stitch it with this wobble, or if you need to have a stronger stretch safety, maybe your second stitch would be in the multi-point zigzag, or maybe it would be in the multi stretch. Oh my goodness, I can't even think of the word right now. Stretch overcast. But you could put in your first wobble stitch and actually go to your serger if you have it, and then finish it with the overcast and cutting it down. Okay, so let's talk about pinning this together, because we've got the whole hoodie basically here, other than the hood part of it. So like I said, I've put it down. This is the back, right side up. And over here, I've got a sleeve. See that? And now I'm going to move this just a little bit so you can see into it. Here is my side seam over here, right? That's the back side seam. We want to take the front side seam. There's my pocket, right? And we're going to match up. We've got some notches there that we're going to match. And I cut one really big there. So we're going to center it, matching our raw edges. And then I know this is a big point. This is one of those points, again, like, four-way intersection, that we want to make sure that everything matches up nice and neatly under there. So I'm going to first match up my seams so that I'm really on my seams. And actually, I'm going to do it this way so I can get in there and really see it. Okay, so I'm just going to do that for a minute. And say, oh, I'm off a little. So let's move him over. And now let's see if I've got it. Stitching back at the 5/8. There we are. Now you can tell, here is a good example that I got a little bit closer and a little bit wider there. It's still a total of 1/4 of an inch, but what it's going to do is it doesn't quite match exactly to this piece. It is under my arm, so I'm not as worried about it. I am more worried about making sure that these seams match, because that is a distinctive line from a distance that you would see right away. So I'm going to put that pin in there, and then I'm going to put a pin on either side of it so that it stays as I approach it in its position. Okay, and then there should be a notch on the sleeve, because here's now the sleeve that we're folding together, that underarm seam. So we've got the side seam that goes right on up in to the sleeve that we're putting together. Just like this picture demonstrates, like that. We've got the sleeve and then it goes down into the side seam. So let me finish pinning these points together. Like I said, we have a notch here. One is marked with lead pencil. The other one is a cut. So I'm going to make sure that the lead pencil is in the center because that's how I marked it with the lead, was in the center of the notch. Okay, so that one's good. Now down here, we want it to match evenly. So we're going to go, we're not going to worry about pinning in here right now. We're going to go right down to the end point, because I can guarantee you if you started pinning it down, it would grow and you would end up having one being so much different than the other. And again, we're matching at that 5/8. And now we can come back and actually lay our raw edges together, let it be natural, relaxed, and pin it so that it fits together really nicely. Again, don't put a lot of pins in, because each time you put a pin in, it actually does some distortion, and the chance of you getting a really bad run happens. So I'm going to go back up here, make sure that my edges are together, and I'm going to put just one there. And then we're going to go down here at the bottom, where the back and the front meet each other down here, the bottom of the garment. We're going to match up our raw edge over there, and then we're going to match at the 5/8 here. Now down here is pretty straight. This is one of the places of any that it's going to match quite well all the way in that corner, because this is straight down there. There's no curve really happening like there is up in the sleeve where it's narrowing down, it's tapering. This is pretty straight down, and so therefore it usually is going to be dead on even. Okay, so now we got that kind of in control. Let's go back up into the middle part here and let it relax. Looks like my cutting job got a little bit of a whack right there. Maybe I went in and out of using my roller and using the scissors. That can happen quite often. I'll stop and change. All right, I see something over here that I want to make sure I take out now so I don't forget. You know, these were my actual, where's my dull one here? Where did he go? Where is he hiding? There we go. These were my tailor's tacks from on my pocket. So I want to get those out of there before I end up pulling them weirdly and causing things that I don't want to happen. There we go. I bet there's some over on the other one when I get that pinned together as well. Okay, so now we've got one side pinned together, one side seam and underarm sleeve. Now we're going to go and do that on the other side. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll meet you over at the sewing machine to talk about how I'm going to finish these particular seams. See you there.